I think what they used to do was like they would, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, but welcome back. Sorry, yeah, caught me in the middle of a game. But yes, I remember when I was 8 years old, I went to Nigeria, and I remember when I was thinking of stories, I was like, oh, let me jot down a few more stories that I remember. I distinctly remember like when family members of mine would play this like soccer game. It's like mainly the boys, obviously, but they like fold up pieces of paper and they'd like put their favorite football player, not soccer, football player on the like paper, and like they'd make like these little paper like goals, and they would like play games with you, like play the like soccer game, like foosball, but with like knickknacks and like caps and stuff like that. And I always thought that was cool. By the way, despite the fact that I live here in America and I'm very much Americanized, I actually still drink like the like sodas in the glass whenever I can find them. There is legit like a picture of me somewhere where I'm a baby and like there's just a huge Fanta Coke bottle in my mouth. I was addicted to soda. But anyway, welcome back. So, as you know, when I was 8 years old, I went to Nigeria. And so a few things that I remember I wrote down. Wait, one second. So one of the reasons why I actually remember the whole soccer game thing specifically was because there was one specific day when I remember that two members of my family had decided that while we were at our grandmother's place, they just weren't going to shower for the entire day. They spent the entire day playing the game, the little soccer game, while the entire family, our grandmother included, was screaming at them to go and take a shower, and they just refused. They just refused. It wouldn't be until literally the sun had went down and we had to like carry lanterns around the house because, you know, obviously NEPA is down. What? Please. So it wouldn't be until that point that I remember they finally went to go and shower, and I just remember that. So silly. Anyway, so yeah, I remember there was a time period where me, my siblings, and our cousins were all like, if we weren't on our auntie and uncle's place, we were at our grandmother's place. And at some point there was like maybe 9 of us total in my grandmother's house. So, you know, we had our fair share of splitting chores. So where my grandmother lived at this point in time, when I was a child, she lived in a neighborhood where one of the chores we had to do was fetch water from the well that was literally right outside our house. And I love my family. I think my family thinks that I am a weak individual. And that really annoys me. So like when we would fetch water, my cousins would complain like, oh, she never has to fetch water, blah, blah, blah. Why does she get to like, and they would complain non-stop, just all the time, complaining. Like why didn't I have to fetch water? Why didn't I have to fetch water? And I was like, okay, fine. You know what? I don't want any grief, any slack, any word from nobody. I'm going to help y'all fetch water. But of course, when I would try to help, it was always, you gonna break your neck, or you can't carry that, or this or that. So then I was like, okay, then let's just not do the chore. How come you don't have to do the chore? It's not fair that you don't have to do the chore. I remember there was one specific day, I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't know what to do because I was damned if I do and damned if I don't. So I was like, you know what? Like I remember I had gone, so like, you know those sand pails you use? I'm gonna put a picture here. Those sand pails you use when you're like making sand castles at the beach. I went to grab one of those and I came outside. All my cousins look at me and they just look at me and they're like, absolutely not. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all want from me anymore. Y'all piss me off. I can't, like, if I help, then I'm gonna break my neck. If I don't help, then you complain that I'm not helping. Like, what y'all want from me? Oh, man. Good times. Good times. Speaking of the cousins, when we were together, like, we was always plotting, always scheming, always trying to, trying to figure out a way to make money, trying to figure out a way to go to a restaurant, trying to just have fun. At this point in time, again, like, since there wasn't always electricity currently, like, flowing through where my grandmother lived at the time, like, we spent a lot of times literally just talking, just thinking, just plotting, trying to, like, see how can we make some extra money? How can we do this? How can we do that? Etc. And of course, my older female cousin and my older sibling, they were essentially the leaders because, they were the oldest. And I think at this point in time, my older sibling was technically still in school because remember, this was the older sibling that also got sent back to Nigeria, if you watched the previous video. But I remember at one point, my older sibling had came back with like a menu and was like, for like this restaurant, I think it was WFC. And I remember I was like, isn't that just KFC with W? But they were like, oh, perfect. Let's like, and they were super excited. My older sibling was super excited because they were just kind of like, oh, I want to like go to this restaurant and get like new food. Let's try something different. We're always trying Mr. Biggs. We're always eating Mr. Biggs, because Mr. Biggs was my favorite restaurant. Okay, I love the meat pie from Mr. Biggs. I wonder if it still exists. I hope it does. But we're like, oh, let's try a new restaurant. So all the cousins are like, okay, if we're gonna try a new restaurant, then we need to get some money. Okay. So we were all like, the plan for the next couple of days was for all of us to try and figure out how we can get some extra money. I was like, oh, we can just ask our grandmother for money. But like, at most, she was going to give us like 20 naira, and that wasn't going to be enough to like go to the restaurant and get like a whole bunch of food. So we were plotting. So like one day, as luck would have it, I remember our uncle from Lagos had come to visit us and had handed my older sibling a crisp 1,000 naira. Perfect. The money we need for the restaurant is secured. Now we can finally get food from this restaurant. Until our auntie was like, hey, can I use that money that your uncle gave you? Now, the thing is, a little side tangent story. I would not know until I was much older. But you are the middleman. So like when an African auntie or an uncle or a family friend comes to visit the house and they're like, oh, here, take this money. This is for you. It's a lie. And I didn't know this. It's a lie. And I would not know this until much later. I was like, we're just the middleman. We are the delivery service. Because as soon as our auntie, uncle, family friend would leave, as soon as they would leave, here would come your African parent talking about something. Let me hold that money for you. No. And because I realized now that I'm older, and I have a better understanding of like we'll say the social element or maybe the psychology behind this. The thing is, our African parents were too proud to like ever ask for money directly from each other. They weren't going to do it for whatever reason. Call it, they don't want to look like they're poor. They don't want to look like they're begging, etc., etc. So I think like all of them collectively were just kind of like, oh, we'll just give it to the children. And then whatever happens after that ain't none of my business. Because you are lying to me if all of you out there, all these African parents out there are just like, oh yeah, that child definitely spent the money on some candies. No. So yeah, unfortunately, when I was 8 years old, I did not know this. So our auntie was like, yeah, can I use that money for something I needed for something? My older sibling was pissed. We were just kind of like, we have plans with this money. Like usually, like before, if we didn't have any plans, it's just like, yeah, sure, go ahead. It's not like we already know the deal. This is what we're supposed to be doing. But no, this time I remember my older sibling was actually like, no, I don't want to give this money to you because we have plans to go and get food from the new restaurant. And like my older sibling was very much adamant about this. So our auntie was like, okay, no worries. I will give this money back to you. I promise I will give this money back to you. And thankfully, she did. She did give this money back to us. I remember she did because we were excited. We were like, oh, wait, she legit gave it back? So yes, it was now time for us to go visit this restaurant. So like we're looking at the menu, we're all selecting what we all want. I'm like, a true fan of Mr. Biggs. I'm like, I just want meat pie, and I want maybe malt in a it was in like a juice box looking thing. Like it was malt in a juice box. I wanted that. And my older sibling and my older female cousin, they were like, okay, we're gonna go get it and we'll be back. We were excited. We were like bouncing off the, oh, I can't wait for them to bring back the food. I can't wait for them to bring back the food. The food comes back, like finally they come back. The food is there. And I just remember thinking that, yeah, this ain't bad. This ain't bad. It ain't Mr. Biggs though. But that's not what mattered. What mattered is that we as the cousins, we had achieved something. All our plotting and scheming and thinking and planning, something had come to fruition. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see that happen. Okay, last story for you today. So so I am a Capricorn. So, I'm the GOAT. GOAT. Greatest of all time. We the GOAT. I made a TikTok about this, but I just find it funny that being in two different worlds, like in America, if you call someone a GOAT, that you're the greatest of all time. In Nigeria, you call someone a GOAT, you're a dumbass and you're a stubborn person. And I think that's funny. But I made a TikTok about it. But anyway, so this isn't me bringing it up randomly. No, there's a reason I'm bringing it up. So as a child, I loved animals. I still really love animals. I remember my parents used to ask me all the time when I was growing up, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, oh, I want to be a veterinarian. And they're like, what's a veterinarian? I was like, oh, it's like a doctor for animals. And my African parents was like, you can't be a doctor for humans. Just dream crushing. Just dream crushing. Just dream crushing. I think I just remember I wanted to meet elephants. But anyway, just dream crushing. Dream crushing. But when we were in Nigeria, where we had lived, there was the woman who sold bread down the street, who always gave it to me for free. She had a goat that had given birth to a baby goat. And I loved playing with these goats. I remember when the day had settled and we were done running around the streets, because we ran them streets. Running around the streets, we would settle at her shop and just sit outside talking, drinking sodas, chit-chatting, and every so often I would literally just disconnect from the conversation to play with the animals. And I would get made fun of, but I wasn't really registering it, because they'd be like, are you gonna take the goat back with you to America? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just having the time. I was like, yeah, I'm having the time of my life playing with these goats. Not knowing that they were food. Ooh. Goat meat is delicious though. But I just remembered that back when you're a kid, you don't really think twice about people who are making fun of you or making you second guess yourself. I was just kind of I like animals. I'm gonna play with the goats. And from what I can remember, I think people would make fun of me, but with a sense of respect, because they saw how I would play with the goat, how I would pet the goat, and the goat would cry, and I'd be like, don't cry, and just super cute. And they just kind of looked at me with this silly American child, but she's happy, so I guess we're just gonna leave her be. And the woman who would give me free bread, she just adored me. She would laugh, but she'd be like, don't mind her, she's gonna take care of the goat. But yeah, with that, we've reached. So the next few stories are gonna be kind of interesting. But I'm looking forward to telling them. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you next week. I have some more juicier stories to tell. We're gonna have a great time. But yeah, stay safe, stay hydrated, stay informed, and most importantly, stay tuned.